All right, so uh, are you ready to dive into this Harry Potter TV series stuff?
Oh,
I am, like, the whole internet is buzzing about this.
oh yeah, for sure. It's pretty much everywhere you look these days.
Right. HBO's adapting all 7 books. Like, the whole thing aiming for, like, a multi-season epic thing.
Yeah, they're really going all out.
It's a lot to take in, and we've got these articles from Collider and Screen Rant, and they both talk about how this isn't like your typical TV show, you know?
It's a huge commitment from everyone involved, especially the actors.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Sarah Aubrey, who's head of original content at Max, she's quoted in Collider saying it's like a dream job, but also a massive life decision.
Oh, wow.
We're talking like potentially a decade of an actor's career.
A decade. Oh, my gosh.
Hmm.
That's a really long time to dedicate to just one role.
It's a big gamble, for sure.
It is a gamble.
But with the potential payoff being huge. I mean, imagine being part of something this massive.
I mean, yeah, but it's got to be scary, too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you're signing away a huge chunk of your life?
Right. And Collider even mentioned that Aubrey was hinting at interesting people raising their hands for roles like Sirius Black.
Interesting people. What does that even mean?
Yeah, it's vague, but definitely adds to the hype.
So much hype. But Screen Rant brings up a point that's been echoing around the fandom, and I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
Can this show really please everyone? Like, we've got those diehard movie fans who are so attached to the original cast.
Yeah.
And then we've got, like, the book purists who will probably freak out if anything is even slightly different.
It's a tough crowd for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The show's going to have to walk a tightrope to keep everyone happy.
Totally.
And, you know, Screen Rant's author, what was his name? Ryan Northrop, I think?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he argues that catering to both groups is going to be a major hurdle for the show.
Yeah, well, he's probably right.
He points to the casting backlash that's already happening, and we only have, like, what, John Lithgow as Dumbledore so far?
Yeah, just Lithgow. Which, speaking of him, I thought that was an interesting choice. Both articles mention it. And I'm curious to get your take. What do you think?
Well, his casting could tell us a lot about where they're going with the show.
Okay, how so?
Well, he's not exactly a young Dumbledore, right?
Yeah, true.
So maybe we're going to see more of his later years.
Like maybe even more of his relationship with Grindelwald.
Exactly.
Oh, that'd be interesting because the movie's barely touched on that.
Right. It could add a whole new layer to the character, a new dimension.
I like it as a fresh perspective, for sure.
But then again, his comedic background could be distracting for some viewers.
Oh, yeah, true.
It's a risk,
Yeah.
for sure. But I think HBO knows what they're doing. I mean, they wouldn't cast him if they didn't think he could pull it off.
Yeah, they've got a lot riding on this.
Yeah.
And Screen Rant really emphasizes those high stakes. Like, they even included a reader comment comparing Jim Dale's audiobook performance to the films.
Oh, yeah.
And it just made me think about how everyone has such different experiences with the story, you know?
It's true. It's like everyone's got their own version of Harry Potter in their head.
Exactly.
And the show can't possibly capture every single interpretation.
Right.
They gotta create something that resonates with the core of the story and the characters if they want to even come close to pleasing the fans.
Okay, so then what about this whole Hogwarts legacy situation? Screen Rant spends a lot of time on this, pointing out how the show might include things from the video game,
Right.
which, as you know, isn't exactly canon.
Right.
That's a bold move.
It is. Incorporating Hogwarts legacy could really alienate some of those purists we talked about.
Yeah, I could see that.
But it also opens up all these new possibilities for expanding the wizarding world, stuff we haven't seen before.
Okay, like what kind of possibilities? I'm intrigued now.
Well, imagine, like, new magical creatures.
Oh, cool.
New spells.
Okay.
Maybe even delve deeper into the history of Hogwarts, exploring, like, time periods that were barely mentioned before.
Yeah, like, whoa.
Right. It's exciting to think about, but I understand why people might be hesitant. For sure. It's a delicate balance, appealing to new audiences while still respecting the established lore, you know.
Absolutely.
But if they do it right, those elements from Hogwarts Legacy could really set the series apart from the films and add this whole other layer of depth and intrigue.
Yeah, I'm starting to see the potential here.
Me too.
Okay, so to recap, we've got this decade-long commitment from the actors, the pressure of pleasing both the movie fans and the book purists, and then this whole Hogwarts Legacy curveball. It sounds like it's going to be a wild ride.
It definitely does, and we haven't even talked about how they're going to adapt each book's storyline or the visuals or the music, like any of that.
Don't worry, we'll get to all that. But first, let's dive into the specific casting challenges, starting with the big one. the Golden Trio.
Yeah, casting the Golden Trio, I mean, that's going to be huge, like make or break for this whole series.
It is. They are the heart of the whole story.
And everyone already has such a strong picture in their minds of what they look like, from the movies.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like Screen Rant said, everyone has their own vision of these characters.
Right, and the casting directors have to find actors who not only embody that essence of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, but also bring something new to the roles.
Yeah, they can't just imitate what we've already seen.
Yes, exactly.
And Collider mentioned that Sarah Aubrey said they're actually looking for new faces, specifically like they're trying to avoid using actors from the films.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What do you think about that? Good idea or bad idea?
I think it's a good move. It gives them a clean slate, a chance to really reinterpret the characters for a new generation.
Yeah, and it kind of avoids all the baggage that comes with actors who are already so attached to those roles.
Exactly.
But wouldn't it be easier to just cast someone who already looks the part? Like someone with experience in that kind of world?
Maybe on the surface, but I think it would be a missed opportunity.
How so?
Casting fresh faces brings this whole new level of excitement and unpredictability.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And think about it. A huge part of the magic of Harry Potter is seeing these characters grow up over time.
Oh, yeah, right.
And casting younger actors lets them really capture that whole journey from their first year at Hogwarts and everything.
Yeah. Okay, you've convinced me new faces are the way to go.
Good.
But what about beyond just like the look and the acting skills? Like, what other qualities do you think are really important for the Golden Trio? What did the movies maybe miss?
Well, for Harry, it's all about his inner turmoil,
No.
Like the weight of his destiny and all the trauma he's been through.
Yeah.
The movies touched on it, but I'd love to see the series really delve deeper into those emotional complexities.
Yeah, like we need to see his vulnerable side, his moments of doubt and fear. That's what makes him relatable.
Absolutely.
And Ron, like, he can't just be the comic relief.
Oh, he is so much more than that.
Right.
He's brave, he's loyal, and actually he's really insightful sometimes too.
Yeah.
The series should show his growth, not just as a wizard, but as a person.
And Hermione, like, she's more than just the bossy know-it-all.
Right.
She's compassionate, loyal, and she has her own insecurities.
Totally. I think the longer format of the TV series will give them more space to explore those nuances.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's exciting to imagine how these characters might be reinterpreted by this whole new generation of actors.
It really is.
But okay, so Golden Trio aside, there's a lot of other casting challenges, right? Like, what about all the supporting characters?
Oh, there are so many good ones.
Yeah, there are.
Like Hagrid, Snape, McGonagall.
Oh my gosh, yeah, all of them.
They all add so much to the world, and we can't forget the villains.
Oh man, Voldemort.
Casting the right Voldemort is crucial.
That's a whole other level of pressure right there. I mean, you need someone who could be truly terrifying.
Right, you need that menacing presence.
Do you think they'll go for like a big name actor or someone lesser known?
That's a tough one. A big name would definitely bring some gravitas to the role.
Yeah.
But it could also be distracting. I think it might be better to cast someone who can just disappear into the character completely.
Like someone who can embody that pure evil without all the baggage from their other roles.
Exactly.
And speaking of disappearing into a role, there are so many characters in the books who barely got any screen time in the films.
Oh, I know.
This is their chance to really flesh them out.
Yeah, like Luna Lovegood, Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
Even Ginny Weasley.
Oh, Ginny, she deserves so much more than what she got in the movies.
They all have such rich backstories and personalities that were just hinted at in the films.
I'd love to see more of Luna's quirky wisdom, and Neville's whole journey from that shy, clumsy kid to a courageous hero.
And Ginny is more than just the love interest.
Other than the love interest.
This series could give them all the depth and development they deserve.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And honestly, that's what I'm most excited about, the chance to see the Harry Potter world expanded and explored in ways that we haven't seen before.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. But even with all these exciting possibilities, we still haven't answered that big question. Can this show really please everyone?
Yeah, it's daunting.
It is.
But I do think it's possible.
Oh.
I think the key is to stay true to the spirit of the books, but also be willing to take some risks,
Yeah, like don't be afraid to deviate a little bit.
Right, and ultimately, it's about telling a compelling story with characters we care about.
Well said.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if they don't please every single fan, it's still going to be a massive cultural event.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to talk about it, debate it,
Absolutely.
and hopefully rediscover the magic of Harry Potter all over again.
It's like adaptations spark these conversations and challenge our perceptions, and they allow us to experience these stories in new ways.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the challenges of casting the Golden Trio, the importance of the supporting characters, and the potential for expanding the world beyond the films.
Yeah.
But there's one more big thing we need to address: the shadow of the movies themselves.
Ah, yes. The inevitable comparisons, that's something they're going to have to deal with from day one.
Yeah, it's like no matter what they do, someone's going to be like, well, in the movies, they did it like this.
Exactly. And those visuals from the movies are like so ingrained in our minds.
It's true.
It's going to be really tough for the series to like step out of that shadow, you know?
Yeah, the Screen Rant even said that this isn't just a new show, it's like a whole reimagining of a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Right. It's a huge undertaking.
It is. I mean, the comparisons are going to happen no matter what, but that doesn't mean the series can't carve out its own space, you know?
Right.
I think the key is to really lean into those differences. Like, don't try to just copy the films,
Right.
but instead explore those new avenues within that world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like what we were talking about before, like maybe diving deeper into Dumbledore's past or giving more screen time to Luna and Neville.
Exactly. Things the movies just didn't have time for.
Right.
The series format allows for so much more depth and detail. It's not like a 2-hour movie. They can really take their time and flesh things out.
Yeah, and maybe even address some of the criticisms of the movies. Like, remember how everyone was upset about Peeves?
Oh my gosh, yes. Peeves.
Like, bringing Peeves to life would be amazing.
It would, and it would be a clear signal that they're doing their own thing, you know?
Yeah, like this isn't just a rehash of the films.
Right, exactly.
So maybe instead of seeing this as like a challenge, the showrunners can see it as an opportunity
Oh, for sure.
to create something new and exciting while still respecting the core of the story.
Absolutely. Like, take the magic that we all know and love and then add like a whole other layer of enchantment.
I like that. A new layer of enchantment.
And who knows, maybe this series will even inspire a whole new generation of fans.
Oh yeah, like kids who weren't even born when the last movie came out.
Right. They'll come to this with fresh eyes.
Totally. And no preconceived notions.
It's pretty cool to think about.
It's okay. So to wrap things up, it seems like this Harry Potter TV series is walking a really fine line, you know, honoring the past, but also embracing the future.
There's a lot of pressure to please the fans and that challenge of like escaping the shadow of the films.
Right, and adapting this beloved story to a whole new medium.
But there's so much potential. I mean, they could create something truly magical.
Yeah, something that captures the heart of the books, but also brings something new to the table.
And it all starts with the casting, finding those actors who can breathe new life into these characters.
It's a big task, but I think they'll find the right people.
I hope so.
I'm excited to see what they come up with. This has been a really fun deep dive. I feel like I'm even more excited about this series now.
Me too.
Thanks for joining me on this magical journey.
It was my pleasure. And to our listener, what are your thoughts? What are you most excited to see brought to life on the small screen? Let us know. The conversation is just getting started.